Okay, great. So, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon again, everyone. I'm going to be looking out for when the facilitator joins us so that I can promote him to admin as well. In the meantime, he has asked me to continue to answer the questions so that he will join us in a few minutes. We have a full, the room is getting filled up already, so we'll kick off right away. So I'm going to basically be attending to a few questions that were asked in the course of the last meeting that were not answered, basically in keeping up with ensuring that we handle all the information, or provide answers to all the information, all the questions that people have asked, and provide adequate information so that when this runs, it can be done well. I'm going to give you a little insight as well into why are we doing this in the green community and what's here to really benefit. So, Mobolaja, you already asked a question. Since I like your answers on evangelizing, and some of these answers were sent in by Mr. Sola ahead of his coming to the meeting to say that I can continue to engage with people and answer them pending when he gets his connection in place. So I like your answer on evangelizing cash solutions to customers. You also mentioned e-commerce delivery. Will the agent banking link with solutions for digital transformation for market person to take and fulfill orders and payments? The answer to that is yes, please. A digital marketplace will be available to fully digitize the farmers' crop sales, small traders ordering electronically from the main markets, distribution, manufacturers, and importers. And for e-commerce, financial inclusion centers will be able to place orders for goods online, phones, TVs, electronics, household goods, etc., and all in escrow as a better alternative to the present cash on delivery e-commerce system. So, of course, if you understand, today, many of the people who are doing e-commerce are doing cash on delivery because nobody, there's a trust factor missing. With some of these inclusion centers closer to people, they can become trustable centers to, basically have hold cash, escrow cash in waiting for e-commerce goods. So I think that's the structure for that to work there. Chinedu Kogu asked a question for this. So the criteria for becoming an agent that you are providing in your response. Will you be required to provide similar security standards as the banks? Who sets the standards? Okay, one of the key policy guidelines issued by the CBN years ago is the guidelines for regulation of agency banking regulations in Nigeria. There's a link that shows where that is. In addition, the reason why we're encouraging professional agent banking is for interested players to ensure that they train themselves and their staff on international best practices, which will separate them from competitors and keep the agent operations more secure. So, of course, you provide some level of security for yourself, ensure that you're trained, ensure that you're doing best practices. You don't need to carry so much cash. All of that can make you work. I'm going to send the link on what the agency, professional agency banking relationship is. Okay, somebody's complaining about my audio being low. Let me check that out. Is it better? Can you hear me clearly now? Hello, can you hear me loud and clear? Somebody was saying something about the voice. Atamaya, can you hear me now? Okay, better. Okay, thank you. Thank you for notifying me on that. Okay, excellent. So, like I said, I'm going to be, peeping in to see when our facilitator is in so that I can add him to the panel. So forgive me if I am going on and off a bit. I just want to ensure that he's in here with us as well. And so let me just send him a message. Can raise your hand once in, so that's okay, great. So I'll send the link. I've sent the link for the information about the agency banking relationship. It's available there in the message segment. I've sent it to all, I believe, so that everybody can have access to it. Okay, someone says I can hear you at my hand. It's a lot better. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to try and project a bit as well so that you can hear. We're going to have a lecturer join us shortly. So another question I was asked here is, sir, this was by Falodun Oluwaseyi. Please, the network over here is a little bit, can I get the connected again for better explanation? Yes. If you're in the green community, you already have the video for the last presentation, so you can get to hear that and work with that. Okay, somebody also asked, Martin Kochu asked, Registering a cooperative is CAC or bank industry that does registration. To register a company, you need to go to CAC. It's one of the services that CAC provides. If you want to register a cooperative, I think it's Ministry of Agric that does that currently. BOI appoints qualified professional agents to process loans on their behalf. Such agents can process loans even as much as 2 million on behalf of their clients and get paid a percentage of the amount provided by the BOI and other development banks. So some of the professional agencies will be allowed to disburse loans, and I think approval process will be passed on to BOI to nominate some of these people, these organizations as well. Idachaba St. Gabriel also asked a question: what if someone who wants to start a lucrative business, this job loss, won't the person be eligible for this loan? The present COVID loan is palliative for existing businesses. It's not for somebody who has just lost their jobs. It's for businesses that have track record over the last 1-2 years to be able to ensure that the losses that they have incurred at this time, they can get some form of support in the current time. So it's basically for businesses that are running. There are other loans and packages for those who want to start a business, but they require attending training at the approved EDI location and submitting a business plan. Well-set-up financial inclusion centers will also be able to apply to become an EDI. So if you can get the picture here, so this financial inclusion centers, this is what we are averagely trying to secure for our distributors today is an opportunity to become a financial inclusion center. Now, the benefit of that is that they have a physical, of course, they will need to operate from a physical location where they will be interfacing with on the upside of 50 to 100 people on a daily basis who need ID cards, BVN verification, and they can step up into agency banking and provide some support services within their local communities. Now, if they are well set up and they're running well, they can also become EDI centers. EDI centers are the places where training is done for the general public and people who want to start their own businesses, who want to run their own business plans. From these EDI centers, they can be trained. And once they've gone through that training, they can now apply for the business loans for startups that is also available from the Bank of Industry and a few other CBN initiatives as well. So you cannot get the COVID-19 palliative loan if you are not currently running business, but there are other packages that are available for people in those categories. Like I said to you, I'll be checking from time to time if our guest is here. He said he has some challenges with connecting. Hopefully, he joins us quickly enough. I think the link in Abuja is interesting today. Okay, so good. That question was asked here by Ogochukwu BDK. Should there be formal trainings for this since it requires a level of professionalism? The answer is yes. There will be extensive setup and continuous training for both the owners and the staff. So once we, for example, get the approval for the financial inclusion centers, there will be training. Everybody who is going to own and manage one will need to be trained, and there will be ongoing training as well. In fact, there's a fee in the startup fee that actually goes into covering training and a variety of things that they will need to do to set the people up. So yes, there will be training. Ogochukwu BDK. Kola Walila also asked a question. It says, are there rooms for robust issue resolution? There are times when network issues lead to double disbursements. How do you effect reversal? Once again, professional agents will know how to handle issue resolutions better. If an agent location is properly set up, they will eventually be able to handle issues resolution on behalf of banks who are presently looking for how to divert the large crowds coming to their branches because of failed electronic transfer and similar issues. So of course, those who will handle this will be trained appropriately to ensure that they can do it well. So there will be training. It's like we said, the reason why we first of all push this towards our stockists is because we know we have a sizable number of stockists. We know they're already having locations and pushing some value and business through their channels. So we feel this is a very interesting integration that can happen for a number of these stockists. And basically help them to, so of course there'll be training. We'll do organized trainings, offline and online trainings to ensure that things are properly set up. Everybody will have a direct, training or direct installation and basically follow through on their own systems to ensure that they're running things correctly. And then once it begins to run, issue resolutions, all the things that, they will need to do, will be available in the training as well. I think people are a bit worried about how will it be. I think once you know that there's clear training that's going to happen for everybody who wants to do this, then you answer almost all of those questions. How and where we want to take the training. As soon as the time for that comes, that will be possible. So a number of people have filled forms already. We have a few hundreds of people who have filled the forms and indicated interest in being financial inclusion centers. We have sent this ahead. We've got a leeway to be able to delay a bit before sending. So we send this ahead. So this is now available with them to process. Now, of course, the reason why we applied, we have two reasons to apply. There are people who applied and said, we don't need any loan. We just want to start. We have resources already. We have most of the equipment. We have our facilities. We just want to run this. We don't need a loan to start this. So for the people in that category, the journey towards execution or towards flagging off is very close. For the people who say, look, I need a loan, of course, the reason why we're applying together is because they've given them an opportunity to also just send in the names of people who are interested in running financial inclusion centers, who have a track record of doing business, who they can easily finance based on what they will be doing. So the reason why they can finance is because they know that the national identity cards that you'll be issuing out, there's a fee at the back end that you're supposed to be earning for it. They can be deducting for that loan from that fee. When Mr. Shala comes on board, he will explain that a little more clearly. Okay, so there's another question here by Pastor John. It says, sir, if possible, I have a bank that is closing down there and I applied with my equipment necessary available. Will I be empowered with the cash to start with? Question is not very clear. If you are approved for the loan, working capital will be part of the provision. Okay, so somebody else asks, what is the liquidity amount expected for a starter? Between 300 naira and 1 million is advised. Fidelity insurance is 1 million and liquidity management training will be provided. So of course, many people are going to be getting loans to do this. So you can start with between 300,000 naira and 1 million as your own initial cash outlay for the business. Can a newly incorporated business become an agent? Yes, a newly incorporated business can become an agent. So you can even start basic agent services without registered business, but operating at a professional level is advised to register your own business. So of course, many people are applying for this loan are applying in their names because they have used their names to do business over the last 2 years. But guess what? As soon as you apply for the loan, you get the loan. Before you get all of that, you want to ensure that you have a registered business, and it can be a business name. 15,000 naira can get that scored. You can get the business registered so that you can begin to operate at a professional level. It's not just in your name. You can begin to build that account and gradually grow from there as well. Okay, so let me check if it's in here already. Let me check S for Sola. Okay, I think you have him in already. So let me just promote him to panelist. So that good. I hope you've been hearing me clearly and I'm doing a good job until it shows up. Okay, good. So somebody else is asking, you can, let me see if you can enable your camera. Okay, I think you can start your video now. Great. Yeah, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So
okay.
I have the opportunity of knowing if you can hear very clearly now as well.
Okay.
Okay, so I think the internet challenge is global. I think it's happening in a number of places as well. So I already started answering a few of the questions. I've
been online for some time.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay, good. So you know where I am. Okay. So do we continue with the questions or how do you want us to progress?
Yes, just go ahead with the question and answers. I think that was the starting point.
Okay, great.
And then we can now
take it on from there. Okay, so somebody's asking, frankly speaking, Kola is asking, frankly speaking, what minimum space or apartment and amount can one start with? 2 or 3 rooms located on a major road, no boys quarters inside, a block of flats higher than first floor in the complex etc., with public toilet and preferably a back entrance. I think what is required is a single big space with 15 square meters. If you have a single big space with 15 square meters and it has toilets and it has waiting area, I think that answers what is required. So it's not anything really, really big. It's something that just allows you to be able to interface. It's supposed to be a community, something that can serve the local government, essentially. Okay. Someone's asking cryptocurrency admins such as Electroneum, to be precise, for now already have partnership with major GSM networks like MTN, Airtel, Glo, blah, blah, blah. ETM claim they want to provide banking opportunities to the bankless rural dwellers. What is the future of cryptocurrency in the space going forward? Okay, our speaker in the house is not an expert on cryptocurrency. I have a little insight to cryptocurrency. I think it's a technology that is getting gradual, slow acceptance. And I think, the first key milestone that will make you know that there's a future in that direction is when, it begins to become something that CBN begins to talk about frequently, that the banks begin to adopt. I think we're not there yet, but I think sometime in the very near future, a lot of things are possible in that space. So of course, that probably will provide another extra layer of accessing and creating more financial inclusion options. But what we're talking about here is about, normal, the regular banking, the agency aspects of it to ensure a closer reach within the communities. Book is asking, is there any structured training section to be? And I think we've answered that a number of times. Yes, there's structured training for as many as have become approved to become financial inclusion centers. Somebody is asking, what is the ballpark figure to set up a bank agent in Lagos mainland, like Uju Elegba? The relative is dependent on what's on your ground. If you provide our office, then between 1.5 and 2.5 million naira will do the work. The basic equipment costs about 1.5, liquidity not more than 1 million at the time is advised. The other variables such as location and optional additional systems, mobile services, etc., can easily be up to 1 to 20 million depending on how aggressive you want to go. Okay. I think there are lots of questions here, so I think I need to get your voice in on a few of these things as well. So maybe I'll just ask you directly so that we can begin to see your face and not just mine. So somebody's asking, Alex Dada is asking, can collateral for NERSAL loan be from a spouse? So I think, if you comment on the NERSAL loan, you probably will handle a number of the questions already put together. So maybe we can start from there.
Okay. So the question on the collateral. So generally, NERSAL loans fall into what we call development finance loans that are from the development finance banks. NERSAL MFB is one of them. Bank of Industry, Bank of Agric, and Co. So there is what is called a collateral registry. And as of today, you can use your car, your machines, and stuff like that to act as collateral. And then on a general basis, the collateral requirements are not as, strong as what commercial institutions will be requesting for. But there's a lot of instances where a third party is actually the one providing collateral for you. It's not just your husband. It can be anybody that has agreed to make their collateral available to you. Of course, they will sign the necessary documents, and that will serve.
Okay, very good. Okay, somebody's asking, are all agency positions purely cash-based? Can I be an agent with an agency facility that can provide storage for materials and perform non-cash operations? And I think the answer to that was yes, please. Agent aggregators usually move electronic value between their sub-agents and can earn a lot from that part of agent business. In addition, processing loans does not necessarily require cash handling by the agents and can be financially rewarding. Okay, so I guess there are options for people who don't want to handle cash.
Very much so.
Okay. Someone is asking, Samson Adibayo is asking, as a new entrant to the system, where do I start from in setup center? Location, equipment, liquidity, training. Very good. I think that answers a number of questions as well. For those who want to start, you need a location, you need equipment, you need some liquidity, and then you need training. Someone is saying that your voice, that if you can up your voice a bit, they're not hearing you as clearly as
Oh,
they're
my
hearing.
voice. Okay. All
Uh-huh.
right. Let me just put on my headphone then.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. All right.
So I think it's a very good question. How do they make money as an agent? Where do the commissions come from? So I think a little bit a discussion about the financials.
Okay. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay. Great. So the reason why we call them financial inclusion centers is because there'll be all sorts of services that will be provided at those locations. But on a general basis, they are usually transaction based. So you earn a commission. If you do an account opening for a bank, you get paid an agreed amount before. If you issue a card and all those kind of things. But the principle is that at any point in time, there will be a long list of services that can be done at that agent location. So it's like a supermarket for financial services in the local community. But that's the model, and expectedly, people will be working in and working out for one reason or the other. Once the center is open in the local community.
Okay. So a little bit about the financials. How are people going to earn money? How does it work? Where's the money coming from? They put money into this. How will they be paid? How will they get to earn?
Yes. So for every income that is, can you hear me very well?
Very well. I'm hearing you very well.
Okay. I just want to be sure that you're hearing me. Okay. So for every activity, there is already a prearranged agreement on how the payments will be made. So for example, for some of us that are doing BVN, we are familiar that what is done is at the end of every month, is actually collated weekly. At the end of every week, all the accounts that you opened for that week is collated, submitted, and then at the end of every month, your account is automatically credited. Now, for some transactions, it's like a prepaid transaction. The public is paying 500 naira, but you as the agent, you are prepaid for it for say 300 naira. So when they pay you your 500, you get your margin of 200 on top of it. And then, but every service has its own specific arrangement. For those of us that have done mobile money, we know how it works. Customer comes, the money is either added to what the customer is paying, or in some instances, it is the exact amount. And then at the end of the month, the service provider reconciles all the work that has been done and then credits you your own money. But most of the time is systemic. It's almost automatic, as you're running these services. It's not manual at all.
Okay. So are they going to buy pins ahead, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's why I said. You remember that we're talking about a lot of services here.
Okay.
All sorts of services.
Okay.
So for some, there's some sort of prepayment that is required.
Okay.
For some, is instant settlement. For
Okay.
some, you will actually be the one to collect the money from the customer
Okay.
and remit. So it will vary from what you're doing, account opening, card issuance, BVN, national ID, even state ID registration, tax collection. It's a very long list, actually.
Tax collection.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So someone is asking as well that, and I think this is a question that is, somebody was asking me as well to say, why are we doing, just out of curiosity, national ID? Why state IDs? Why will that be necessary? Why not just have everything on the national grid? It looks like a lot of opportunity, but why?
Okay, so Nigeria is still a federation. And, there are some things that are responsibility of states. There are some things that are responsibility of the federal government.
Okay.
Now, at the state level, so the states usually collect personal income tax.
Okay.
And so you can't register with the federal government for personal income tax. You have to register with the states, for personal income tax. It is
Okay.
the local government that collects things like a TV license and stuff like that,
Mm.
that you pay on land every year.
Mm.
Uh,
I'm losing you
that
now.
is local government. Yes. So the local, sorry?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So there are different roles that different people play. The local governments actually have a lot more role than most of us realize. But, local government is responsible for addressing, for example, so for all those different services, you will need to register with them separately. But specifically for states, they are responsible for what we call the resident registration. You can't be a resident of the federal government. You have to be a resident of a state. So it is that state that will register you and issue you that ID that you are a resident of that state.
Okay.
The federal government ID is actually what is called a non-functional ID. Your national ID number on its own is not doing anything, if I can use that word. The only thing the work is doing is that when the state issues you your residency card, they link your national ID to it.
Okay.
When the driver's license issues you their own card, they link your national ID to it. When the banks issue you your account number, so everything is linked to you as an individual, so that when it's time for, to trace you for whatever reason, they're able to use your national ID number to link all those different IDs that you have with all the different service providers to you as an individual.
Okay, very, very good. Someone's asking what KYC requirements are required, and I think the answer is clear. It's the same KYC requirement that CBN would conduct on all agents. So the fact that you have requested to be an agent doesn't mean that they won't do KYC on you. Yeah, you still have your KYC done. Somebody asked, thank you for the wonderful seminar. I want to know, for someone that wants to start a business, can she benefit from this loan, and how can she apply? I think the applicants will have to attend training and submit a business plan at the EDI for those who want to start doing their businesses. Okay. Someone is asking, is there a moratorium for the loan? Please, in the facility under NISRAL, what is the ceiling of the facility and what's the moratorium allowed? Maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, so generally for the post-COVID palliative, the general structure is it's a 3-year loan, it's a 1-year moratorium, 5% per annum, and it doesn't require the regular collateral, if you like. But don't forget that NISRAL is an institution. They disburse MSMEDF funds for almost all CBN programs as at today. So each program itself has its own structure. Some are 5 years, 2-year moratorium, especially farming related loans. But there are even loans that are up to 7 years and 2 years moratorium. So they vary, but palliative is 3 years, 1 year.
Okay, so let me help us run through this. So I think I'll be posting all the questions and asking some of the ones I want to ask also directly, based on questions that people have asked me directly as well. So right now we're applying to become financial inclusion centers. How do we, what are the processes? What are the next steps? What are the next steps for us? And how do we scale this up into, if we want to become EDIs? What extra space do we need to have? What are we looking at in terms of timelines?
Okay, so as we speak, we're setting up centers. So it's an ongoing. It's been ongoing for a while now.
Okay.
What has happened is that there is now reason to scale it up. because of all the projects that are going on. Some of us are aware of last year when JAM said everybody must provide a national ID.
Okay.
And there was an unbelievable rush trying to meet up, and they had to cancel it. So that requirement has not changed. It is a requirement by law that says that for your driver's license, your international passport, your a very long list, even for you to enter your hotel, to board a plane, almost everything really. There are about 77 items you must provide your national ID. Enforcement has started partially, but it's not yet in full because there aren't enough centers yet.
Okay.
And that's where the urgency is coming from. The target is to set up 10,000 centers across Nigeria, and over the next 3 years, register all Nigerians at the national ID level. At the development finance level, the target is to empower 1.4 million small businesses like yesterday, if it's physically possible. The core missing link here is the amount of professionally competent agents that are in the system.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know, for example, that BOI appoints agents, but they have just about 100 agents. What they need is about 4,000 agents to be able to cover Nigeria effectively. But if you don't have people that are competent to handle it, then there's nothing anybody can do. So moving forward, the application requirements are there. We've said it. You need a location. Location is a starting point. Remember, that is a service point. So the location must meet the minimum requirements that we've said, and then the equipment. Once the equipment, then liquidity and training. So once you fill the form and you've been able to identify the location you can operate from, we'll start setting you up tomorrow morning. There's no delay.
Okay. So for people who don't need the loan, they can start up ASAP.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what do we do for that? We need to basically take out those people from our list and then begin to engage on next steps for that. Yes?
Yes. Those who don't need the loan, just fill out the form and forward it. We will contact you immediately. We will do what we call a location verification with you. Once we're satisfied that your location meets the requirements, then we'll start the process immediately.
Okay. And this is nationwide?
Yes, absolutely. Even outside Nigeria, actually. As of today, we have about centers outside Nigeria that are doing national identity registration.
When you say outside Nigeria, what do you mean?
US, Canada, UK.
Oh, really?
Syria, Russia.
Really?
Malaysia. Of course. Part of the national ID requirements is for all Nigerians, which also includes Nigerians that are, out in diaspora, as we call them. As from last year, we actually concentrated more on what we call the diaspora locations last year, because, as of today, you cannot get a new international passport if you don't provide a national ID number. So that had to be prioritized, and then centers had to be set up, globally, so that people can go there. Of course, for most of those centers, those who don't have BVN can, now get their BVN. They can open accounts. They can, they can do essentially all the services.
Okay, that means there's a big market out.
Functioning.
That means there's a big market out there as well, because we have a lot of Nigerians in UK, US, Canada, and those places.
Absolutely.
Okay. Someone is asking a question here as well to say, what is the minimum level of inflow that will be seen in a business account that can be recognized as sufficient? I think the question is in two parts. Recognized as sufficient to apply for the loan, and if I'm running this business, what do I expect to be making as well?
Okay, we're talking about profitability now.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so like all businesses, is in categories. So let me use what a lot of us are familiar with. A lot of us are already familiar with POS agents. All right.
Yeah.
So there are POS agents who do 30,000 business a day. But as of today, there are POS agents that do 5 million a day. They're in the same business. So, you know, how you set up matters. So if you speak specifically about POS, for example, liquidity is usually what makes all the difference, and the stability of your link. So if people know that anytime I go to that agent location, they won't tell me, come back tomorrow, wait for 5 minutes. They always have cash, and their link is always stable. They have about 2-3 POSs, you know. Now, at a professional agent level, you won't just be using POSs. You will be using the same connectivity that bank branches uses. You know, so you are much more stable, and you know the transaction is higher. So you can imagine if somebody has a center at a community, and everybody now knows that even if I go there and I tell them that I need 1 million, they will attend to me. It's, you know, so it always varies from individual. We had agents who individually processed like 20,000 accounts, one person.
Wow.
You know, and then when they were getting paid, you can imagine the outcome. But there were agents who did only 10, 20, you know. So it's
Okay.
In and out, purely in and out.
Okay, beautiful. Sesime is asking a question. Because my personal bank turnover is more than my company's, can I start with my personal bank and later switch to my company bank account so as to access more opportunities in the future? And I think the answer to that was that personal accounts can be used as long as corresponding BVN is provided, although registered businesses are encouraged. So it can switch, yes?
Yes, you can. Most times people start with their personal accounts, and then they upgrade to business accounts.
Okay, so Eden World is asking, is this scheme, and I don't know if, you know, is this scheme already in operation, or is it in launching phase? And I think what he's asking about is the company that we're trying to partner with to get this set up. Is it already running, or is it in launching phase?
So as a company, we've been in this business since 2012. That is 8 years. I think a lot of people know they regard us as like the pioneers of agent banking and all of that in Nigeria. Okay. So and we've worked with everybody really. You know, every major player we've been involved in their operational setup. But as is specific to financial inclusion centers, as of 2015, when the JEEP program started, some of us may have been part of it. I actually personally, I coordinated the pilot that took place in Osun at that time. Just like I also coordinated the pilots that led to what is now called the NISTRA MFB. Of course, all those things need agents, you know. So if you go to the JEEP website, you would have seen my details there as the coordinator for Abuja and the North Central, for example. So yeah, we've been working with agents for forever, more or less. We're scaling it up now because there are specific opportunities that is now going to take it to the next level.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Shola. There are a few other questions building up from today that I'd like to just quickly push out as well. So somebody's saying, is one agent per local government feasible for easy reach of customers? Can we indicate interest to register an agent for our local governments? I think the answer is yes. You can indicate interest. But I think, you know, why the limitation of one per local government?
Okay, so what we actually do is we appoint partners per local government, not necessarily agents in the traditional sense of it. So we believe that if you're in Ikorodu, you're the one that understands Ikorodu. We don't understand Ikorodu. You're the one that will determine that in Ikorodu, you can only cover Ikorodu if you have about 20 points. We don't know. or whether you need 10 points or whatever it is. But what we do is that in order to have structure, we appoint a partner per local government. Any other person that comes from that local government after that is referred to that partner, to more or less act as a sub of that partner. We don't think one location can cover any local government. We think most local governments need about 20 locations or sometimes even more, especially in Lagos. But we can't get to that level. We leave it to, our partners to sort out that level of detail.
Okay. Somebody is asking, is there a difference between what if the place you have is upstairs? If the office is upstairs, does it make a difference? And someone is asking, so I can see this long question, and I want us to also break this up. So one, is there a difference if the office is upstairs? Can they have an office any location? And then two, some people won't take advantage of this opportunity. So to become professional agents, banking, financial inclusion centers, and they want to apply for the loan via this platform. There's also the initial COVID loan that doesn't have anything to do with applying for this. People who are doing their normal businesses can do that as well. What do you advise? Should they cast all their bread upon the waters and hope for whichever one comes back, or should they, if they are doing this, should they leave that? Or if they are doing that, should they leave this? What do you suggest?
Okay, so that's a good question, actually. So if you have applied for the COVID loan, I'm sorry, you may not be able to apply for this loan because it is actually under COVID. What we did was to approach the CBN with our own specific business plan to say, look, this is an ongoing project, which they know we have been licensed to provide. And this is what the typical location will need. These are our agents that are already in business because it's part of the COVID requirement. What we want to do is we want you to give us a batch approval. And that's what we're doing. So we're doing a batch approval and submitting as a single list instead of, for COVID, you go there individually and apply. So the good thing about it is that we are now responsible for following up and ensuring that, the approval is given, and we try to take advantage of relationships that we have. However, if at the point of disbursing, it is now realized that you had individually applied for a COVID loan, of course, that's conflict because it means you are making 2 applications for one program. So it's quite likely that you will be called up and, some sort of resolution will be reached. Okay. We're fairly confident of what we're doing. We've done a lot of work. We're engaging at the right levels. So we're not the ones issuing out the loans. So, but we're quite confident that we've done the necessary work and, we will fairly get approvals as long as the people we're submitting are fundamentally qualified.
Okay. You already have people that have qualified, yes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Office upstairs, is there, you want to answer that?
Yes. Good question. Now, I think what I would like to say is that second floor is a no-no.
Oh, really?
So there are some shopping complexes that are, 3 floors, 4 floors, Second floor and above is a no-no. The ideal is a ground floor. That's usually the ideal. First floor is doable in some instances. Remember that for some of the services, it's a public service. So the general concern will be the safety of the parties that are coming to ensure that, people don't start a fight and then somebody falls down. When it goes public, they won't mention the agent's name. They will say it is this program that led to, and it becomes avoidable distraction. So first floor is, but not ground floor is the best. That's just what it is. Remember that public toilets should also be there. Publicly accessible toilets should also be there. Waiting area should also be there. But we understand there have been instances where first floors have been approved.
Okay. Okay. Someone is asking as well to say, how do we ensure that this program is not being hijacked by politicians? Some people have some paranoia. So, what do you think, sir?
Okay. Yeah. So when I was giving my presentation earlier, I took time to relay all the policy frameworks that have been put in place, which started in 2012. So there are about 4 licenses that have been issued. There's all sorts of programs going on. And that's why we're using the word professional. It is not something that, it has, 2012 was Jonathan there?
Yeah, yep.
In 2012. I think he had just come in at that time.
Yes.
Or, he was actually still vice president.
No, he was there.
So about that, So essentially what we're talking about is that it has gone through regimes now. So it's an ongoing, very comprehensive program that, has come to stay. And they've been backed by all the necessary policies, guideline documents, and all of that. To the extent where today you can become a professional agent. In matter of fact, very soon, people will start, just like an ICANN, certificate, a CIBN certificate, you will start, needing a professional agent certificate for you to run certain levels of services. That activity is ongoing. So it is a very sustainable thing. It's not a temporary thing at all. Political influence is normal everywhere in the country, even in the world, actually, not even just Nigeria. So it's not unexpected. Politicians will always try to influence. We can only hope that it will be for good. So for example, at least I know 2 senators who decided that they wanted to fund centers in their constituency.
Okay.
And that's good. So
okay. Someone is asking a question. I think it's also a good question. How do you reconcile doing state identity registration vis-a-vis Lagos State LASRA agency?
Yeah, good question. And I think I've answered it already.
Okay.
So what the law provides for is that the national ID is your reference number. The card in itself is actually not useful to anybody. You're not, in the absolute sense of it, it's not useful to anybody. So what the law provides for is that in the case of LASRA, Lagos State is responsible for registering you as a resident of the state, which is what the card is for. And they're responsible for, taxing you for your personal income tax. But what Lagos State now needs to do is that as they are registering you for LASRA, they need to connect your national ID to it.
Okay.
That's what the law requires Lagos State to do. That's where the 2 of them, meet each other. What some states have done is to merge the 2 together. And I can confirm to you that Lagos State is planning something like that. It's quite likely that when the governor speaks in a few days' time, is going to, announce to Lagosians that LASRA is now compulsory and everybody must go and register in the next 6 months or 1 year or whatever it is. And of course, before you can register LASRA, you must now provide a national ID number. We plan to be a major part of that activity as well. Which is part of what our centers will be doing when those announcements are made.
So our centers will be able to register LASRA, for example?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Someone is asking, I can do Canada, or please, can I get more information? I think the first step is apply, and then notice very clearly your location, and then we'll pass it on. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Someone says, how do I access the form? What's the criteria again? How profitable is the business? Adele is asking.
So I think the forms we've gone past the form issue. Am I correct?
I think we have gone past that here. So I think,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So profitability, there's a document we've shared just to give us an idea of what's possible and what's not possible. So if you set up properly, um, you can be doing as much as 2 million, 3 million a month in turnover. Um, and if you become competent in loan applications and stuff like that, that's the next level. You know, I mean, I have agents who in one scheme, they earn as much as 100 million, as their commission. Of course, over a period, because in that instance, they were working. Then after the whole scheme was shut down, they were now paid at once, but, by the time they were paid 100 million,
Wow.
So of course, that 100 million is not for them only. They also add their own sub-agents. So they distributed it amongst their sub-agents, but, we're talking how much one person can earn, So it purely depends on how serious you take this. A financial inclusion center is a bank branch replacement center. We don't expect anyone to earn less than 20 million a year. We expect the average to be closer to 40, 50 million. But like all things, it depends on your location, the individual, your seriousness, and every other thing, you know. But to the extent of the compulsory services, at least you are sure that no matter what you do, people will come, because it's a compulsory service and people must come and,
And do it.
if Lagos State announced now and says, come and go and do LASRA, people will be running around looking for where to do the LASRA. If your center is approved, you don't need to look for them. You're the one that will be chasing them and say, please, we're full, come back tomorrow.
Okay.
That's the way it works.
Okay. So there are a few questions here I'd like us to be able to pack quickly. One is saying, what's the minimum time frame to get a national ID card? I think that's, if you have a center, someone is running a center, I think I get one in 10 minutes. Maybe. Does it take longer than that?
Yes, it's as at today. So let me be clear. What is being issued as at today is not the card. It is your national ID number, which is, it's like BVN. That's the way it's being treated. The physical card is not being issued. You will get a slip that, people can laminate and you can charge them for laminating it for them. But it's instant. They wait, you capture their details, you issue the number for them, you print out the slip and they walk away.
So it's like the equivalent of national security number?
It's national identity number.
Okay.
So it's the number that is actually
that is the key thing.
The active issue here. So if, for example, you want to do your international passport, they just need your number. So once you can give them your national ID number, they're okay with you.
Okay. Someone is asking if a school premises can be accepted.
That's a good question. This is how I like to answer it. The agent banking guideline excludes churches, no, let me not say churches, religious institutions and schools from acting as agents. So it expressly excludes, such institutions. Sure. However, it does not exclude their premises. So that's the difference. So in the case of a church, for example, what some churches now do is they will form a cooperative of their members. They will provide a space in the compound of the church. It is that cooperative that will now apply to set up the center. So the church makes the center available, but it is not the church or the school that can apply.
Okay. Fair enough.
Or mosque.
Eh?
Or mosque.
Yeah, okay, great. So someone is also asking, there are people that have this challenge. They've applied with their current location. So I think I've sent applications to you
Apply
for
to
about,
who?
no, I've sent the applications to you over of all the people
Okay.
that applied through us.
Okay.
So all the people that applied through us, I've sent the applications to you, but they applied
Yes.
using their current address, which they
Yes.
intend to change because they
Okay, I
feel
got
their
it.
current location may not be perfectly ideal. They intend to
Mm.
use this to apply and then get another place. Is there a problem with that?
Well, okay, from the regulator perspective,
Yeah.
the assumption is that you already have a location that you are using to apply.
Yes.
Remember that I've
They
been
have.
saying that location is a starting point. So
Yes.
so the assumption is that whatever location you provided has already met the minimum requirements. Remember, in this the assumes that I'm going to use the money to maybe partition the space,
Yeah.
put a canopy outside, put chairs, get a public toilet, all those additional things that will now make the place usable.
Yeah.
It doesn't assume that you're starting from scratch.
Mm.
That's from the regulatory perspective. Now, from our own perspective, we can understand with you and say, well, the challenge might be that if you now have 500,000 to set up a location and you don't have anything at all, there may be an issue.
Mm.
Because the 500,000 may not be enough to cover a proper location setup. So those are typically where issues can come from.
Yeah, well, I
In
think
the course of, remember that you're going to be interviewed, by, people are going to call
yes.
you up and ask you questions. So in the course of them calling you up, they may be able to figure out that this person doesn't have education. And that may disqualify you. There's nothing we can do about that. But if you're able to go through that process, just keep in mind that if you don't have an existing location, without if 500,000 will serve, except you're in a terribly rural area, our own normal provision for location setup is 2 million.
Okay.
Normally, because we don't even encourage people to take 1 year rent. A lot of times, people that take 1 year rent run into problems with their landlords. I know many instances where somebody rented, after 1 year, the landlord said, I'm not renewing. And then the person was forced to leave. And then that same landlord went to start the business there.
Mm. Yeah, deep. Okay. I think for these people, they have the capacity to rent new spaces themselves. They just want to be able to get, at least be able to apply and get started. Okay. Someone is asking, I'm currently operating as an agent. Felicia is asking, I'm currently operating as an agent of a bank. What effect does this have on my becoming a part of this financial inclusion process?
No, you're already part of it. The only thing we're talking about here is your level. If you're a mobile money agent today, you're already an agent.
Mm.
You're doing cash in, cash out. Some people are doing BVN. People are doing all sorts of things.
Okay.
The only thing we are doing differently is like we're now helping people to move to the next level.
Okay.
If you can use that word.
Okay.
So we help you to aggregate all sorts of services that ordinarily by yourself you would not have been able to aggregate. And of course, we provide you all the support to make those services feasible, more or less. So yes, it's just a matter of upgrading yourself from where you are now.
Okay. Someone is asking how can they partner? So I think so how can they partner? How can they be involved? I don't know anymore. So we already pushed this for the last 1 week. We got people to apply, got people sending their forms, and we have sent it ahead to Mr. Shola's team. For those who still want to apply, I think for those who want to apply now, who don't need a loan, they can still apply. For those who want to apply and need a loan, I don't know, maybe next batch in the future. I don't know. What you told me was that you have till Friday to send the list to CBN. I don't want to be going back and forth on it again. We've already delayed for like 1 week. So I don't know what your take on that is. Should I still give?
We're submitting the next list on Wednesday.
There's another list on Wednesday. Okay.
We're submitting the next list on Wednesday.
Okay. So let me just do
you.
Yeah.
We encourage you not if you haven't submitted, let it not be more than Monday, because we have to compile. So if you compile by Monday, by Wednesday, but all the ones that we have now, we've already submitted them. So it's in batches, but the earlier the better. Like all things in Nigeria, it's not an endless program, more or less.
Okay. So,
but if you don't need a loan, we'll set you up on Monday.
Okay. Okay, great. So I think you can hear that. So there's a form available in the green communities. I'll send that form again today for those who have not applied. I've drawn a line for the ones that applied before now. We've sent all of the list ahead. We said the next list is going to be going on Wednesday. So latest for Monday, if you're in that category, apply. We'll still send the list and send ahead, but that will be batch 2. No guarantees. Reality is you need to have a location. You need to be doing business already, show track record in your either personal account or company account, and then have an office space that you can use, and then you can apply. What we are doing, for perspective, for those who are here, we are doing this primarily for our stockists. And why are we doing this for our stockists? Because already our business requires that they have an office and they are front facing. With this, they basically have another source of income to take care of their venue costs, so that every extra income they are making from our own side is purely profit for them. That's why we are doing this. We see that there's a possibility of a nexus between this opportunity and the one we are driving with Green Monday. So we're pulling it together to say, you know what, we can get this benefit for our stockists. And of course, we are saying after our stockists, then our distributors. After our distributors, our non-financial members. After our non-financial members, the public. So that's how we're doing. So if you want to be a part that way, be in the green communities, we'll share the link again, and then you can decide. And of course, if you think this is already too late and not something you want to do, I'll share the link on the natural loan as well, so that you can apply for that one for whatever business you want to do in this time as well. So I think we've answered that. That's done. Somebody's asking, personal accounts usage can pose problem with tax payments. What's your take about that?
Yes, I agree. I had answered a question earlier, and I said we encourage you, if it's just a business name, register it. It's good for you generally, especially as your business, gets more serious. But it doesn't preclude that if you're using a personal account to run your business, nobody will stop you. But we encourage you to move on.
Okay. Thank you. I think we have a few other questions. Somebody says, if a person says he needs a loan to run business, I think you can apply for the COVID palliative loan. That's Simeon. Simeon, please watch out for that link and take advantage of it. Somebody's asking, how do I apply? I just joined in now. I have been running a money agent, a mobile money or something for like 3 years. It's very simple. This is supposed to help you upgrade. A form we provided in the communities, get the form, apply. Just fill the form. If you're not in the green community, ask the person that invited you how you can be part of the green community so that you can get the details. Someone's asking, can one set up in a building situated in a market? A very nice place, a personal property.
Yes, in actual fact, the best locations are around marketplaces.
Okay.
Especially in the rural areas.
Mm.
They're usually the best location. Most of the agents that do millions on a daily basis, they're usually located within big markets, or they're located at bus stop areas. Those are the two strategy. So if you really want to be dead serious about this business, just go and get a space under Ujelegba Bridge. That's all. Make sure you have everything else that it takes. Or you go and chase the Union Bank at Ujelegba Junction away and acquire the building there. So definitely yes.
Okay. Someone is also asking, can they access more than one location? I think I know the answer. So this is 2 locations in Oshun, 4 in Kwara, 1 in Kogi. I think you can access as many locations as you want if you have the money.
We have individuals that are covering an entire state.
So
remember, we excluded some states. It was for a reason.
Okay. So there are some states that are covered already by one individual. So it's possible to have multiple locations. If you have your own money, if you are going to get a loan to do it, you can only access for one location. I think that's, am I correct with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then the last question here says, how do I know if the local government I'm interested in is taking? How can I then come on board in that situation? So how do I know?
If a local government has been taken,
yeah,
you'll be referred to the approved partner in that location.
Okay.
To work with that partner. So more or less, unfortunately, you'll be acting like a sub-agent.
Okay. So there's sub-agency possible.
Yes.
Okay. Someone is asking which states have been approved.
Sorry?
Every state is approved. I think person is asking which states are out of the list.
It's nationwide. It's a nationwide project.
He's asking like
every local cranny of Nigeria.
I think person tries to ask that which states can they not do anything with?
Well, I think we were clear. Kaduna is largely out of the picture.
Okay.
If I can use that word. I think Kaduna is the only state that is fully covered.
I get.
Some of the other states, I'm trying to remember the states now. Kebbi. So Kebbi is also fully covered. But the other states, there are opportunities there.
Okay. So the number of questions on how do I get to apply and all those kind of things is very simple. And let me just end this with that before I ask Mr. Sola for his closing remarks this afternoon. We have a community on a number of WhatsApp pages. There are a number of groups, green communities, where we've been sharing a lot of information on education, enlightenment, personal development. We've been interviewing entrepreneurs, interviewing different people who can add value to us in various ways. And one of the initiatives that we're driving as well is to ensure that our stockists in Green Monday can have access to all the opportunities that they need to have to be able to ensure that we can minimize their costs and allow them to prosper. So we set this up and say, you know what, for all our stockists, get this. And of course, then distributors are saying, we're also interested. We don't mind opening our own, we have our own shops, we have our own outlets. We want to do this. So we open it up to a larger community. And then more people came in and said, we want to do this as well. So we've made it available in the ways we can. If you are in any of the green communities, just go there and then the form will be available to you there. On the alternative, there's a page that we have on Facebook, facebook.com/ourgreencommunity. Information will be also available there as well so that you can know this is what's available. It's a private group. You can't access it except you probably have joined one of the WhatsApp groups and then you're given the link. So because we don't also want it to be very public, we're doing things within a private space to empower the people within our community as well. So if you want to apply to this, make sure you are in one of the communities. The links will be shared there. The form is very basic. It's asking you for your name, your location, your BVN, your phone number, and the local government you're interested in. We're going to push everything across. And this is because people are particularly interested in getting loans. If you're not interested in getting a loan, please put it in the comments and say, I don't want a loan, I just want to start. And then we'll shift that in faster so that you can be a part of this. So it's like every day we're doing the meeting, people are getting to become aware. We already closed this yesterday, but Mr. Sola has graciously given us another opportunity to say there's another batch that will be submitted next week, but it needs to come in on Monday. So whatever it is that we have on Monday, we will batch it as batch 2 and send it forward as well, so that people who want to be a part can be a part. Already during this meeting, I can see some people are filling the forms already. The forms are available through the person that invited you to the green community. You can get it from them as well. So this is how it works. I don't know if you have any parting shots. A few other questions entering, but I don't think we'll be able to answer that now. If you have, I'd like you to, whatever it is you like to say to us. Somebody is asking, so many questions that, and I think you'll keep on pouring in.
It's understandable.
I'm running a driving school in 2 local governments in my state. Can I qualify for the loan, and where to start for my driving school? There's so many things here and there. I think if you are doing business already, you can apply. If you're interested, you can. I think it's not a bad way to go. For me, it won't be mainstay. You'll be, this is also gives you an opportunity to interface. I know how hellish it was in Lagos when they announced that people cannot do JAMB without national ID card. People spent 4 days of queue, 4 days, going there every morning and getting wrong numbers, funny numbers, as it was tough. Alausa, people could not get their national identity numbers in 3 days. It was bad. I know how much it took for companies to hijack some staff, pay the staff and say, come to our office and come and beat in our office. So I know that once regulation begins to drive for people to go in this way, it will happen. Already, with the COVID-19 minimal crowd, no crowding in particular spaces, it probably will necessitate that things become decentralized as well. So we want our people to be able to take advantage of the opportunity and use that as a leverage for their business. So if you are interested, it's very simple, apply. If you have your cash, you can roll with this. And it's just if something you're interested in. There are many opportunities that are still going to come, depending on what you are interested in and what you would like to do. So those are my thoughts. Mr. Sola, please, any parting shot today before we lay today's meeting to rest?
All right. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to share thoughts with all of us. I'm sure there are a lot of us who can also provide a lot of insights that are part of this group. Unfortunately, all of us cannot speak. What I'd like to say is that there will always be milestones in every nation, and in also, actually, that's a global thing. Post-COVID is a milestone in Nigeria. And a lot of things are going to change moving forward. One of those kind of milestones happened in 2002 when the telecom operators were licensed. And like so many Nigerians, they just didn't believe that there will come a time when your phone is practically your life. That was less than 20 years ago. Now, between then and now, some people have become billionaires working with telcos. And I can remember very, very well that when MTN was looking for their first set of distributors, their cash requirement at that time was, I think, about 5 million. And of course, a few short years after, for you to be a distributor, the cash requirement was 500 million. I don't know how much it is today, but I suspect it's probably close to it, or it's even not an option available. So during milestones, what happens is that there's a resetting, and that is really what post-COVID is going to do. It's going to reset Nigeria's economy. It's going to reset the global economy. But a reset is not necessarily a bad news. A reset simply means that things are going to change. So I encourage all of us to keep our eyes open for these opportunities. Because in 5 years' time, the story is not going to be about people who started taking over bank branches. It's not a new thing. It happened in Brazil. When Brazil started their own system, there were about 20,000 bank branches. Today, they have less than 10,000. It's about 8,000 now. Because agents started taking over the bank branches. That is the level of opportunity. We're not talking of people that are doing 5,000 withdrawal, 10,000 withdrawal. We're talking about processing loans on behalf of third parties, even to the extent of 2 billion by one individual. All right. So it's a business that can go to any level, depending on what you can do. And post-COVID is what is going to force all of us to do that resetting. Let us take advantage of that opportunity. Prayerfully, God be with all of us. We will come out victorious. I encourage all of us, be honest. If you don't have a location, say it. It's not a death knell, but you're likely to pass through if you were honest from the beginning than you get caught in the middle and then you now start explaining, actually, I didn't know, and by that time it will be too late. So be honest, and then we can now work with you to see how we can fit you into the system. God be with all of us and keep all of us safe so that we'll have a good story to tell in a few years' time.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. I think it was enlightening today. I think I wanted us to cover the very key essentials. I don't think there's much talk point about the financials. I think we've already shared the financials of what it looks like. If it's something that you're interested in, you know already. If you have other things you're doing that makes it easy for you to work with, that makes it awesome as well. Thank you for being a part of this. I think in one way or the other, you have learned a little more that can make it a bit more practical for you.